Gamers, get ready to level up your experience. Introducing the JLink 32-inch curved gaming monitor, a powerhouse that's built to redefine your gameplay. Right off the bat, its captivating 32-inch curved 1080p VA panel welcomes you to dive deep into immersive gaming. With the 1500R curve, it promises to deliver an unrivaled field of view, putting you right in the center of the action. Now let's talk performance. A staggering 240Hz high refresh rate ensures buttery smooth transitions. Say goodbye to lags and ghosting. And when it comes to response time, the JLink boasts a 1 millisecond MPRT. That's lightning fast, ensuring you're always a step ahead. Visuals come alive with an impressive 4000:1 contrast ratio and a dazzling 350 CDM2 brightness. It's not just a game, it's an experience. And speaking of visuals, with the 123% sRGB color gamut, you're getting richer, more vibrant hues, true colors, true beauty. Are you Team FreeSync or Team G-Sync? Why not both? This monitor supports FreeSync and is G-Sync compatible. Gaming nirvana. What about connectivity? We've got HDMI 2.0 and DisplayPort 1.2 support. Hook up your rig or console with ease. Want to free up some desk space, or maybe you're going for that minimalist vibe? The JLink is VESA mountable. Flexibility at its finest. Are you worried about longevity? Well, don't worry. JLink backs you with a solid 3-year warranty. And here's the cherry on top. They've thrown in a 1-year accident damage coverage. Power, precision, and performance. The JLink 32-inch curved gaming monitor. Upgrade your game. It's available if you want to pick it up right now from Amazon, and I will be putting links in the video description. So now let's see what you get inside the box, and we're going to do some tests to see how well this monitor actually performs. Alright, so here we have a HDMI cable and a power cable. We get our power adapter. Here's the bottom part of our stand, which is all metal. Here's the back part of our monitor. This piece right here is all metal, and this is plastic, and it does look like it has a quick release as well. And here is the monitor. Looks really nice right off the bat. There's also some screws inside the instruction bag so you can put the mount together. And on the bottom of the mount, it also has these nice rubber pieces on each one of the legs and the base to help keep your monitor in place and to help keep it from scratching up your desk. And then we can simply clip this into place. So the monitor doesn't move up and down, but it does tilt up and down. So the monitor itself is made of all plastic, but it feels nice and solid, and it doesn't just flex when you pick it up. The joystick on the back is really nice, moves really well, and has a satisfying click to it. So we're going to be testing this monitor now with a couple different games and a couple different lighting situations. Right now we're sitting in my studio with pretty much every single light on, blaring directly at me. So as you can see, even in this brightly lit environment, you can still easily see everything on the screen. So brightly lit rooms should not be an issue when you're using this monitor. The monitor also doesn't have any speakers, so I had to just hook up this little soundbar that I had through the headphone jack that's actually on the back of the monitor. And you can also control the volume by the monitor as well. So really quick, I just want to show you that we are on 1080p, we're using 240Hz, and we're using FreeSync or G-Sync. The picture does look really nice, and like I said before, when you're sitting in front of the monitor this close, that slight curves definitely does help with the immersion. And as you can see, when I move my mouse really quick to look around, we don't see any tearing, we don't see any ghosting, or any other artifacts. It's nice and smooth. The color also looks really nice as well. So now I'm going to turn most of the lights off and we'll see what difference it makes with the monitor. So right now I only have the overhead lights on in my room, and I can already tell you that I can see the screen a lot better. And I'm sure that you can too. The picture on the monitor looks so much better now that we don't have so many lights on. But like I mentioned before, you can still easily see what's on your screen. But this monitor does look really nice so far. Okay, so now we're going to play a little Forza, and I just want to show you again that we are at 1080p, 240Hz using the FreeSync or G-Sync. The picture does look really good, and again, I don't see any tearing, any artifacts, any ghosting. Picture looks really nice, and the colors look really nice as well. And that curve of the monitor really works well with immersion in games like this. And again, for the lighting situation, we're only using the overhead lights, which is pretty typical for any room you're going to be in. And the monitor also has some pretty good viewing angles. As you can see, we can move almost 180 degrees, and there's no change in the brightness or picture, except for when we hit that curve. So now let me turn the lights totally off and we'll check out the contrast ratio. So now I'm going to turn on the dynamic contrast ratio and we'll see what it does to the picture. So it definitely adjusted the brightness down because we don't need it to be so bright because there aren't any lights on in the room. But you can always adjust it to the way that you want. I still think the monitor looks really good. So whether you're in a dark or a bright environment with this monitor, you shouldn't have any issues. And even with the lights off, it's got some pretty good viewing angles as well. So the way that the dynamic contrast ratio works is depending on what's on your screen, that's how the brightness is adjusted. So if we have a darker picture, it's going to lower the brightness, or if we have a brighter picture, it'll increase the brightness. So as you can see, we have a white background here and it just increased the brightness because it is a brighter background. Just looking at the monitor from my vantage point, I don't see really any blooming. The backlight seems to be really even across the whole monitor. There is a slight bit of washout, but that's to be expected because of the type of monitor it is and the lighting that it uses. So I'm going to turn off the dynamic contrast ratio and we'll see what the difference is. So even with the dynamic contrast ratio off, the monitor still looks pretty even. I don't really see any blooming in any particular part of the monitor. It all looks pretty uniform to me. But again, there is that slight haze because of the backlighting of the monitor. But it still looks really good. When I'm using my monitor, I like my brightness to be up a good amount like it is right here. It makes everything really bright and easy to see. But if you want the darkest parts of the screen to remain as dark as possible, I would definitely use the dynamic contrast ratio setting. But like I mentioned before, everything on this monitor looks nice and clear, even though it is only 1080p. You can easily read the text on the screen, and everything is nice and bright. The monitor also seems pretty sturdy on its stand, so if you happen to knock into your desk, it's not just going to flop around. So now I just want to go over the menu really quick and show you some of the cool things that this monitor can do. So the first thing we have is the display. We can change the brightness, contrast, black equalize. We have some presets, sharpness, and ultra vivid. On the top, it shows the resolution that the monitor is currently displaying and the refresh rate. Here we have our color settings. We have color temperature, gamma, hue, saturation. We also have a blue light filter. We have our gaming where you can turn on the FreeSync or G-Sync. We have overdrive, Game Pass, which I'll show you in just a minute, HDR, and the dynamic contrast ratio, as well as the MPRT. Now for the Game Plus, you have the option of turning on a timer, crosshairs, or an FPS counter. The crosshair is really cool because if you're playing first-person shooters, you can turn that on and it'll put a dot right in the center of the screen. So no matter where you're aiming on your screen, this will always be in the center of your crosshairs, so you really don't have to use the ADS. We also have our input that we can change from the DisplayPort to HDMIs. We have our system setup, the language, on-screen display, our audio, reset, and USB upgrades, and our user data profiles. So you can have 3 different profiles if you want. We also have some quick settings that you can take advantage of depending on which way you push the little joystick in the back. So if I were to push it up, it'll take us to our input so you don't have to go all the way into the settings to change those. We also have our Game Plus options, our preset picture modes, and the volume. Again, this monitor doesn't have speakers, but you can use this to adjust the volume of the headphone jack. It also fits perfectly right next to my 40-inch ultra-wide. And it also works really well with gaming consoles as well. So here I'm playing on my Xbox One X. We're playing a little Diablo. Picture looks really good. It is just 1080p again, and you can also do the 120 Hertz. You just have to find a game that supports it as well. The other thing that I really like about this monitor is the fact that it also auto switches inputs. So if I turn off my Xbox, it'll automatically switch over to the other input that's already in use. So I'll turn the Xbox off and it'll auto switch to my PC. And there you go. I also like the fact that the curve isn't really that drastic. It's just enough to immerse you into any games you're playing. The build quality also seems pretty good. It does seem like a really solid monitor. That 240 Hz refresh rate is going to guarantee you that you're getting the fastest refresh rate possible. And again, whether you're going to be using the monitor in a darker situation or a well-lit room like my studio here, you shouldn't have any problems seeing anything on the screen. I do kind of wish the monitor moved up and down, but that's just a small nitpick because you can mount it on an arm. I personally also think that 32 inches is the perfect size, especially for gaming. I also like the fact that it is a matte display because when you're sitting in front of it, you're not going to be distracted by any reflections. I do also want to thank JLink for sending the monitor out to me so I could do this review for you guys. And if you've never had a curved monitor before and you don't want to go full ultra wide just yet, but you want to get a little taste of what it's like, I think this 32-inch monitor is a great place to start. So this monitor is available now, and if you guys want to pick it up yourself, I will be putting product links in the video description. And if you guys enjoyed the video, it would really help out the channel if you gave me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.